Yeah, he's talking about the Hilltop Peaks and Loman. It's at the very back. All right, guys, moving on to agenda item 4, citizens to be heard. Persons wishing to speak up may sign up with the city secretary in the time and manner as indicated above. Madam Secretary, has anybody signed up to speak?
Yes.
Okay. We are going to skip item 5 and move along to, let's see, where is it at? 11A? 11B? Yes, 11B.
No, that's 6.
That's 6S.
11.
Yeah, 11A. All right, so 11A, administration new business, discuss and or possible action on the award of a construction contract for the Texas CDBG project CDB 21-0020 drainage improvement projects. Jerry, you want to go ahead and take the floor?
Thank God for letting me spend a lot more of your time. I was quite interested.
Yeah.
We took bids. We got so much. Took bids yesterday here in City Hall. This is my recommendation award letter. Need one? I'm gonna just run through this real quick, just so you all don't have to read everything. I don't know if y'all remember the project is a drainage improvement project along Hilltop Peaks, west side of Hilltop Peaks from Skyla. That's how you say that, Skyla, to Loman, and then from Loman up to about the cul-de-sac, the half cul-de-sac bend. 13 existing driveways along the route and ditch work about 1,330 feet. Replacement of pipe culverts under the driveways, larger culverts, and related safety in treatment, which is the concrete in on each of the culverts. And then finished driveway surfaces once the project has gotten almost done. All of this was considered to be really necessary. But we've had some higher construction costs, and we're still looking at continued manufacturing and supply chain problems. So we fashioned our bid schedule to hopefully get all of the work done that was with the available funding. And so the proposed work for the bid opening time, which is the base bid on your bid tab there, was just from Skyla to Loman. According to the plan holders list we had at the time, we had 8 interested bidders. We also had one turn in a bid off of a plan room. So we actually had 9 interested bidders. We received 3 bids, only 2 were legitimate. One was considered non-responsive because they didn't acknowledge the addendas that we had out. One of the addenda number 2 had the actual bid schedule, the new bid schedule, and they didn't use that one, so they were considered to be non-responsive. The 2 bids, one was 108,506,000, and the other one was 227,142.77. If you look at your bid tab there, that it shows the difference in those 2 bids was mobilization and traffic control. A lot of times the contractors or the bidders put a lot of money into the mobilization, and some don't. So the low bidder didn't put all that much money into the mobilization. Apparently they didn't think they had to have that much. All the bids were taken back to our office, tabulated, scanned, and I've taken them back or brought them back for the mayor to put in their grant file. The bonds, we keep the bonds until we actually have a contract, and we will return the originals because they are basically a legal document. We had $317,500 available for construction. So C3 Environmental Specialties was the low bidder. Their bid was only $108,506, like I said, so that was way lower than the available money. We also had a bunch of contingent items in there that were part of the original scope because we weren't sure where you can get it all done. So we started looking at those. If you take all the contingent items and added them to the base bid, we would still be at 219. So we still got a lot of money left over. Some of the contingent items were considered by the grant folks to be not eligible for cost reimbursement because they were considered to be maintenance. We were considering cleaning out the Skyla culverts and the Loman culverts to make sure this new or this updated ditch work would be able to flow out of the area. But they consider that as maintenance. So that those two items can't be included in the project. It could be considered to be, or it could be covered, the cost of those could be covered by the city if they so elected to do so. What else did I have? The contingent items that we did add was from Loman North. And there are some items in there that have to have environmental clearance still done on them because they weren't part of the original environmental clearance, which takes about 30 days or 45 days. So those items can be added back into the contract once they get cleared, which those would be rock berms, silt salt berms. It's all erosion control type stuff. So when you actually clean out your ditches, everything doesn't run off and down south or east of Skyline. With the contingent items added to the base bid of 108,506, we come out to be 194,264. That still leaves about $123,000 left over. We had a call this afternoon with the grant people, and they're suggesting we come up with another project to spend that money. And in so doing, we have to come up with a project pretty quick. That may be a discussion that the city may have to have. If you don't use all the money and you have to deobligate, which they call that deobligate, which is return the money, more than $10,000, that penalizes you on your next grant application because you didn't use the money you applied for. The reason that we had 317.5 is because of the prices at the time 2 years ago that everything was pretty high. And now we thought it was going to be even higher, but for some reason these weren't. So we will have to take a look at another project that we might be able to spend the rest of, I think it's $123,000. Actually, it's $109,000 after you take the 123 out. We have not worked with C3 Environmental yet, but I did have some references to call, and they all gave them a rave review, and they would all use them again. City of Sherwood, City of Cibolo, City of Universal City. And then there's a Hayes County Drainage Improvements District that is doing a project with them right now. They all said that they do a good job and recommended them for this one. So we also found that they had no debarments, so they can enter into a state funded project. And they also signed or filled out the conflict of interest form that was required in the bid that says they have no conflicts of interest with the city, so they can, or they're eligible for a construction contract award. So, I know it's a lot of information, but with considering all that, we would recommend a construction contract be awarded to C3 Environmental for that 194,264.45. And if you don't have any questions, that's it. I can answer.
So just want to point out for the people that are in attendance. Like Jerry was saying, the mobilization that Jay Sanchez put together is over $101,000, and comparative to C3 Environmental, which is coming at $12,000. So about $89,000 difference there. So that's where the big jump in price between both contracts, both contractors comes into play.
If you eliminated those two items, they were only like $29,000 apart for the actual work done. And I will say the third bidder that was unresponsive, he would have been higher, just so you know that. And they had even more. They had like $150,000 in mobilization. So I don't know what they saw and somebody else didn't, but usually that kind of a number, in my experience, is way high. It's usually about 10% of the project, which that $9,500 for mobilization for C3 was about in line.
Questions?
And you said that the 194,264 includes the contingent bid items
Not,
that you
not
have?
all of it.
Not all of them?
The C1 and then C10 through 16. C10 through 16 is basically north of Loma.
So
That is what-
do we not need the,
big pardon?
do we not need the other C2?
The other ones
C9?
are the ones that are not environmentally cleared yet. The grant people have to clear those before we can add them to the contract. They can be added in by a change order later.
And since we have those monies left
You
over.
have monies left over to do that. And you can increase the contract by 25%. That would only be about 15,000.
So
We're good.
C10 through 310 through C
16,
16
yes,
is included.
Is
that would be in the 194, yes. It's in the
Okay.
194.
C1.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they wouldn't have any problem getting this done in the time required by the grant.
No, ma'am.
No.
They actually put 50 days in there, so, and they're honored, I asked them, they're ready to go, so. I guess they can blow and go.
Okay, and C3 and 4, if we want that done, it will be a city event
That would be a city expense
and a separate contract.
and it's a separate contract outside of this one because the grant people frown
Okay.
on combining stuff in their contract.
Okay, questions?
Take a motion if anybody wants to do one.
I move that we award C3 environmental specialties, a contract for $194,264.45, authorizing the mayor to sign the contract documents.
Okay.
So I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderwoman Alvarado to award the contract to C3 Environmental Specialties for amounts of 194,264.45. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you, sir.
I might add that, now that y'all have done that, we will put together a notice of award package that was containing the contract, the insurance requirements, and all the forms, make sure they have all the forms that TDA requires. And it will probably take them maybe 2 weeks to get everything back to me. Do y'all have an attorney? She would take a look at it for legal form, to make sure it's all right for you to sign it. And once those are signed, we'll have a pre-construction conference here to talk about where they want to get water, if they can have water, where they put their stockpile, their materials. A lot of the talk had been about out at the park. There will be some material that's going to come out of these ditches as they dig, and it's so tight of an area that we have them haul it to the park, stockpile it, and then they will be removing it. But of course, the residents in that area can have whatever material they want, if that's what they want. So any soil that comes out of there, if they want some of it, they just need to let the contractor know. I think that you said something about making sure that everybody knows what's going on. The driveway, they will have no access for small amounts of time, which we will also discuss that at the pre-construction conference. We don't want them to not be able to get in and out in a certain time frame. They're gonna have to pull the pipe out, pull the culverts out, put a new culvert in, and bring the surface back up where you can drive on it. Then they'll come back and put the finished surface in there. So you won't be able to, we won't be without access for very long.
Too long.
But that'll be coordinated with you all, I would say.
Okay,
So, appreciate it.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I've been working on this project since 2016.
I know. I'm glad we're moving forward.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna jump back to item 5. Mayor Administrator updates and announcements. First item is the road bond update regarding New Mathis. So just to give you a bit of an update, they've completed the repave. They've also feathered the edges out to added some material. I got a few complaints from citizens and a few from the postmaster asking to help. So the Texas Materials came back and added some material to help. It's gonna give out because it is base material, but it's the best we could do at this point, right? They're trying. We're just gonna have to just compact and we'll have to figure it out as we go. There was a drop off to begin with, so it's not like it wasn't there already. So paving or not paving, but striping should be happening relatively soon. Was in communication with the engineering firm, and they mentioned that things are moving along right along schedule. Next item is park lighting. So I don't know if anybody's noticed or been to the park in the evening, but there has been substantial amount of light added to the park. It's definitely a much needed improvement. I think it increases overall safety and just adds a better feeling, a more inviting feeling to the park at night. Whereas if you were there and it got dark on you, it became a little uneasy, a little unsettling. But now a lot of the park is lit up, the playground, the basketball courts more than before. And just other dark areas. So just wanted to give you all that information. And then lastly, moving to item C, the CDBG grant. So I got reached out to by Ms. Rebecca Clay Flores saying that there is some grants available for road repair. And so I'm working with our public works director to identify any any roads that may qualify. So citizens, if you have questions or if you think your road will qualify, reach out to me. Again, my cards are out in the hallway. By all means, let me know which road so that way I can look at it and give it to the specialist so they can see if it qualifies, and we'll see what happens with that. Okay, that's all the updates that I had for today. Moving on to item number 6, consent agenda.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
May I just, my coworker and I might have to leave right now, but I'm Patty Hernandez and this is Betty Cano from Commissioner Flores' office. We may have to leave a little bit early, but we wanted to introduce ourselves before we left. And just let you know that Commissioner Clay Flores wanted to be here for the town meeting and for today's meeting as well, the general meeting, but she had to be way across over there at Alamo Ranch. But it was really important for her when the developers came to her that y'all be in the loop. So I'm really glad that this happened, that the town hall meeting happened. And we took some notes, so we'll be sharing that with her. But we're here in your service. She is available to you as well. So I'm glad that y'all are meeting and that the developers were able to be here and share what they're doing, and that you were able to share your concern. So just letting you know that we're here for you, and that we may have to slip out a little bit early, but thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming and in her place.
We're gonna have to move me.
Yeah, we can do that. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If a discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. So all we have today is to approve minutes from the January 26, 2023 regular city
I
council
got the
meeting.
minutes then, reviewed them this afternoon.
Is there?
Two.
Is it on the other side? Oh, yeah, you're right.
I got the items today, reviewed them. I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second. Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Rapino to accept the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item 7A, Police Department updates and announcements from Chief Lopez with possible discussion and or action. Chief Lopez, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council as well. Just to put it out that we're currently doing the background. We got an application for one of our open position police officers. And so currently doing the background on that. just waiting on, another thing to come in for that, and then hopefully everything's moving well. Hopefully, do an interview process with him sometime next week. And if everything goes well, maybe put him on the agenda for March. And hopefully looking for a third officer to have more coverage and response for the citizens as well. So really excited for that as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. Moving on to agenda item 8A, updating possible announcements from Park Advisory Committee. Chair Alderman Rapino with possible discussion and interaction. Alderman?
I have just want to thank you for working hard to get the park lights, and it looks real good. And I just wanted to mention that the next Parks Committee meeting will be on March the 7th.
March 7th, mark your calendars. Thank you, sir. Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you, sir.
Can I address that a minute?
Yes, sir.
We had our first game night
Ah, that's right.
Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, that's right, we did.
It was great.
And you didn't know how to play bunco, right? Did I read that correctly? You didn't know how to play?
I watched on YouTube.
That's good. I need to watch it.
It's really simple.
Okay,
Shake the dice, and it was a great time.
wasn't craps, right?
No, it wasn't crap. It was a really great time, really great people, great conversation. This table would be full of all the snacks and food
Oh.
that came in. Homemade peach cobbler, homemade
No.
cookies. I highly recommend
We have it,
everybody
yes.
sign up for the next Bunko tournament. It was great.
Thanks for demonstrating.
Yeah, thank you, Deb, for setting that up. But now we need snacks for our council meetings. So if anybody heard that, nobody did, so.
We need,
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on. This is my snack. Moving on to item 9A, animal control, discuss under possible action on procedures for filling the open position of animal control officer. So yeah, as the item kind of alludes to, we did lose our animal control officer. So we will be, we do need to fill that position as it is a vital part of our community. So I mean, that being said, I mean, I'm open to discussion on what we should do next.
Advertise.
yeah, that's what we have
With
to
the
do.
county news,
Social
next
media.
door, Facebook.
Word
Can
of
we
mouth.
keep it running
Texas
until
Municipal-
the position is filled,
Texas.
instead of having a limitation
Municipal
on it like we've done in the past?
What happened to him?
Can you,
Limitation? Oh, you run.
yeah, instead of running for 30 days, 90 days, we just keep it going until the position's filled.
Instead of running it for 30 or 90 days, okay, after 30 days, now we'll look at the applications. First applicant that files and is qualified and is accepted, that's when it ends.
Can we do that?
Can we do?
So you can, I was looking at the employee manual, and what's required or what the city needs to determine where it's advertised, length of time for the job opening, so can be until filled. Deadline for applicants to respond can be until filled.
Okay.
That type, so
Prefer to go that
and then
route.
other content as adopted or as approved by council,
Okay,
qualifications.
Put this out there, I'm recommending that we make it part-time. The reason that is because the last two, animal control officers, we spent a lot of money in training and uniforms and things like that. It's a very tough job. It's not easy to fill. So the reason I'm saying that is we make it part-time between 20 and 30 hours. We set it for probably about 9 months part-time. If they progress and can continue to show that they want to be here long-term investment wise, then we proceed after a probationary period after that. Because it costs the city money to bring these individuals, to get them training, outfit them as well with clothing and things like that. We'll make it part-time until they've shown progression that they're going to be here long-term with the city.
The only issue I have with that, chief, is that we need a certified animal control officer if we're going to implement in-house euthanasia.
Mhm.
If we, and we can hire an individual, they have a year to become certified,
Mhm.
but we cannot proceed with any in-house euthanasia without a certified officer. Which puts us back in the position of vet bills.
So that's an expenditure we should have.
So,
Which is very rare.
We've been very fortunate, on the last, previously we had about 10 dogs that were all females. And we were able to, we have 2 adult female dogs right now out of the 10. Right now, we're working on those. Well, we put those in rescues and transported them out to, other facilities. So,
I certainly appreciate that, but I'm not gonna address that during this meeting,
Yes,
but
What's that?
I'm good with what you're saying,
Yes,
but I'd say let's look at 6 months rather than,
I'm open to that as well. Like I said, just my recommendation, let's, I guess, make that part-time till about 6 months or so. But I agree with that.
okay. So can we post in TML?
I think I need a little bit more information, like, what are the hours, like, the
Can-
amount, what are we gonna, what's part-time?
Can we post both positions, full-time and part-time, and maybe we get 2 hits? Maybe that one person out there doesn't want the full-time position, but wants the part-time position.
I'm not sure on the legal part of that side, and when I say part-time, they're not gonna be getting, retirement. They're not gonna be getting,
Health coverage.
benefits and things like that, because it costs the city money. And obviously long-term as well, but, you
20
know,
hours.
Mhm.
so.
Yeah. We gotta work less
Okay,
than so many hours.
I think that is a matter of we need to
If-
talk
if
to the
it's more
mayor
than
about.
that, okay.
Yeah, let's it the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, is that,
We're gonna postpone.
I'm suggesting we postpone any
That's fine.
action until the next meeting.
Okay, that's fine. I'll agree to that. We gotta get a motion on that.
No, you can postpone on your own.
All right, then I'll move to postpone that item. Okay, moving on to agenda item 10A. Public Works updates and announcements from Public Works Director Priscilla with possible discussion and interaction. Ma'am, you have the floor. You're good. It's always good.
God bless you, that's different.
That has got to be the shortest briefing I've heard. Thank you.
There's the least amount of words she's told me before. All right, moving on. Agenda item 11B, discuss enter possible action on a work authorization document from 6 Engineering for a design plan and trench plan review for a water main to be installed under Mathis Road. Oh, so what you have here is the work authorization for 6S to review the connection that they reached out to you, right? What was the name of the company?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't
It's a solid
matter.
project.
Yeah, it's a SAWS project. So anyways, we're gonna have our city engineer go ahead and review the plan. But we wanted to present it to council just so that way they can have the opportunity to review what's going on. It's up for discussion.
Okay, basic thing is Solids is going to put a 10-inch water main under Mathis Road. The engineer has asked about our requirements for any road work
To restore.
to restore the surface. We don't have plans, and what I've recommended to the engineer is that we utilize Bear County standards and Tech Stock standards. So he will review the engineer's plans to make sure that it meets those standards. So my recommendation is we approve the work authorization for a $400 plan review.
This transferable back to the engineer, to the engineering firm?
What's that now?
Are we gonna charge them this $400?
Yes,
Okay, just making sure.
absolutely. So I move that we authorize the $400 review plan.
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman Billinger and a second from Alderman Rapino to approve the work authorization to Success Engineering for $400. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, that passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 11C, discuss under possible action regarding public transportation options for citizens. Mr. Carpenter, I believe you said you were going to spearhead this one?
Yeah, I was looking into that. For us to do this, the amount of money we have to spend is a lot more than what we have in the city budget. We're looking at $500,000 to start it up. That's with us having to have the employees. When I say the employees, not just 1 or 2 bus drivers, 3 to 4. To run 2 separate buses, which we would have to buy. I know we could look at used ones, very cheap, but we're gonna rebuild those used ones. So we're looking at about $20,000 to $30,000 per used bus. Just to get that started. Let alone with the maintenance that would be required. Right now, what I see as our best money saving option is to get a hold of VIA again. And see if we cannot reinstate the program that ended last December. Because something tells me that was working best financially for the city and for the benefit of all of our citizens. Because if we try to spend all this money, trying to meet all the DOT requirements. Like you're shaking your head, oh Lord, no, you know the heartache that I'm dreaming here.
Mhm.
Trying to come up with all the maintenance plans and maintenance schedules, trying to subcontract that out to people who are now charging $125 to $150 per shop hour. It's just not feasible for our town at this moment.
And you'd have to probably get certified by Public Utility Commissions.
Oh, it gets only better once we start climbing that ladder, because everybody and their
Yeah.
cousin wants a penny of the pie.
And then the insurance side of it too, right? The
I didn't
liability.
even look at the insurance.
Yeah, our liability.
I think we need to have you once again, go ahead and talk to VIA about restarting the program they once had with us. I think that, like I said, that would be the most economical and beneficial portion to our community.
Okay, I'll communicate with them. I believe I have the last email where they ended it, so I'll follow up to that and see if it's possible that we can get them back in some sort of shape or form. Or see what other options that they have, right? Maybe it's not them coming here and sitting at the Valero for 4 hours a day, but it's on a request by request basis, and we'll just have to see what we can do. Okay. Well, I believe that's all we have for today.
I think that we adjourned it, 7:51, sir.
7:51, that's a motion. Can I get a second? All right, I got a motion from Bullinger and a second from Alderwoman Martinez. All those in favor say aye. That is approved. We are adjourned.
You'll have to vote.
I just wanted to be
Okay.
honored and I just the